Hello and welcome, all friends and devotees of yoga, meditation, and Buddhist studies. I'm going to continue reading my lectures on the Dhammapada Sutra. The Dhammapada Sutra, for those who are watching my videos for the first time, the Dhammapada Sutra is the summary of the wisdom of the Buddha. The Dhammapada Sutra is a summary of everything that the Buddha taught. So it's like the summary of all the teachings of the Buddha. Everything the Buddha taught in a nutshell. That's what is the Dhammapada, or what is called, what is named in Buddhism, the Dhammapada. The Dhammapada means the way, the path of the Dhamma. So there are 423 Dhammapadas. They are just very short, very brief, succinct, clear statements that summarize all the teachings that the Buddha taught in Buddhism. Before I left Boston, Massachusetts, for Houston, Texas, because of the winter is coming now, it's getting very cold. Last year was pretty cold in Boston, and for several other reasons, but primarily for winter reasons. The winter is very cold in Boston, and I don't care for cold. I try to live as comfortably as possible. That's part of what the Buddha said we have to do in life. In life, you have to use your wisdom, you have to use your intelligence, you have to really live wisely. Buddha says, live your lives wisely, use your time wisely. The United States of America is a very large country. It has parts of it that are total ice. It has parts of it that are cold. It has parts of it that are warm. And being originally from Nigeria, I like the warm parts of it. So that's really the primary reason why I relocated to Houston, Texas. In the United States of America, for those who are not aware, there are 4 main parts of the United States of America that are very warm. During the winter, we're talking about December, Christmas time, New Year time. Southern Texas, particularly Houston. Houston has a lot of Nigerians in it because it's very warm. Hakeem Olajuwon, I'm sure you all have heard about Hakeem Olajuwon, who I think is the greatest Nigerian sportsman. Hakeem Olajuwon played, he's worth $200 million today. Hakeem Olajuwon played for the Houston Rockets. I think he's the wealthiest sportsman that ever came out of Nigeria. He played basketball. He was in Houston here. I know him personally. He made he's worth $200 million today. That's Hakeem Olajuwon. He succeeded right here in Houston, Texas. So just one of the most distinguished Nigerians of Houston, Texas. And then other warm parts of the United States besides Houston, you have California too. Southern California is pretty warm. Then you have Hawaii, where Obama's parents met. Hawaii is also another very warm place, part of the United States. And then you have Florida. I've also been to Florida. I've lived in Miami before. These are warm places. I don't care for the cold. And the cold in Boston last year was terrible, horrible. The worst winter that has happened in Boston for 100 years. Everybody said, people were very confident. The cold was horrible, bad. So that was it. I said to myself, that's the last. I just came back from Nigeria, of course. And I said to myself, well, this is it, no more. So this year, once winter science started, I just left. So for those who don't like cold, extreme cold, these are the options we have. We have Southern Texas, Houston. We have Southern California also. You have Hawaii. And then you have Miami, Florida. These are the warm parts of the United States. So that's primarily why I'm here. Of course, we have lots of my folks are here. I've been really having fun here in Houston, Texas. Plenty of people from my place are here as well. So I get to get around with a lot of my folks. People from Nigeria, folks that I've known before and so on. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read Dhammapada Sutra, just to let you know why for the past 1 week I've not been, publishing, because I had to travel, I had to relocate, I had to do a lot of things. Okay, the Buddha says on 100, I'm starting from chapter 8, the thousands, verse 100. Okay, I concluded in Boston on 99, chapter 7. So I'm on chapter 800. A proverb well said is better than 1,000 meaningless words. A proverb which when heard, a man attains peace. I'm going to continue on verse 101. A simple verse of poetry is better than 1,000 meaningless verses. Poetry which, when heard, a man achieves peace. Verse 102. One stanza of concrete instruction is better than chanting or repeating 100 meaningless stanzas. A verse which, when heard, a man achieves peace. Verse 103, Dhammapada. A man may subdue thousands and thousands, great multitudes at war. If another man could only overpower one person, that is himself, he is the greatest conqueror. Verses 104 and 105. Self-conquest, conquest over the self, is greater than conquest over humankind, even over the rest of humanity. If a person has subdued himself and proceeds diligently at work and in his deeds ever restrained, the conquest of such a great personality may never be altered, not even by the deities or devas, Mara, Brahma, the spirits, heavenly or earthly, or the saints. These are just translations that I did several years ago when I worked on a translation project translating sacred scripts, sacred writings. Verse 106. A man may make offerings and do all prescribed rituals, thousands of them monthly, and consistently do this for an entire century. If another man does pay tribute with reverence to just one enlightened sage and saint, even for only a second, that tribute is superior and obviously preferable to the century of useless rituals and offerings. Verse 107. A man may maintain the flames of burnt offerings in the jungle for a whole century. If another man does pay tribute with reverence to just one enlightened sage and saint, even for only a second, that tribute is superior and obviously preferable to the century of burnt offerings. Verse 108. All prescribed rites and rituals, presentations of gifts, etc., to win divine favor, which one striving after life's achievements might perform annually on earth, are nowhere comparable to even a fourth of the obviously superior achievement of tribute to the just, the flawless. Continuing on verse 109. There are 4 spectacular features which steadily advance in one who is full of courtesy and maintains reverence for older people in general: beauty and decency, longevity, good health, joyful and peaceful living. Verse 110. A man may dwell depraved, his mind unsettled, never coming to rest, nor attaining concentration, and proceed like this for a whole century. But where a man proceeds in accordance with ethical standards and sits regularly in concentration, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure much more valuable. Verse 111 of my translations, Dhammapada Sutra. A man may dwell foolish, lacking common sense, lacking good judgment, his mind unsettled, never coming to rest, nor attaining concentration, and proceed like this for a whole century. But where a man proceeds in accordance with wise instructions and principles and sits regularly in concentration, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure much more valuable. These are my works. I had to take up this project several years ago, translating the Dhammapada in English language, in Asan language, and working intensively on the Chinese hands. I studied Chinese a lot, Chinese Dhammapada a lot as well. Verse 112 of my translations. A man may dwell lazy, powerless, unwilling to strive and be active, his mind unsettled, never coming to rest, nor attaining concentration, and proceed like this for a whole century. But where a man proceeds with energy and determination and sits regularly in concentration, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure much more valuable. Verse 113. A man may exist without observing the eternal process of creation and destruction, the initial development and ultimate ruin of material things in general, and continue blindly for an entire century. but where a man clearly observes the eternal process of creation and destruction, the initial development and ultimate ruin of material existence, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure, much more valuable. Verse 114. A man may exist without observing the reality of eternal life and continue blindly for a whole century, but where a man clearly observes the reality of eternal life, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure, much more valuable. Concluding verse 115 for chapter 8, the thousands. A man may exist without observing the absolute truth and continue blindly for a whole century, but where a man clearly observes the absolute truth, just one day's existence is indeed a treasure, much more valuable. Folks, this is the end of chapter 8. My objective, as I said when I was in Boston, is to read and teach as much as possible one chapter every day. So I'll try my best to keep working on one chapter every day. It's very intensive here in Houston, Texas. The weather is good. It's just like what we have in Nigeria. But of course, I have to work. It's a lot, very intensive, hard work every blessed day. So I had to cut down on this work. I had to really reduce it much, make it much less than before. Folks, for those who are watching my videos for the first time, these are my lectures. I decided to lecture through the Dhammapada Sutra, which is a summary of Buddhism. Once you listen carefully to the Dhammapada Sutra, you should grasp in a nutshell what Buddhism is all about, the Buddha's teachings in a nutshell, and the objective of the Dhammapada really, as I said, is not like any other teachings. These teachings are very unique because they have one goal, one single objective. The objective of the words of the Buddha are like medicine. They are very medicinal. Their objective is to bring calm to the mind, to bring peace to the mind, to bring serenity to the mind, and to bring tranquility to the mind. This, if you've been watching my previous videos, you should understand this by now. So I will encourage all those who are new, who sort of stumbled into this video somewhere online, try to watch them in a series. Watch all my previous videos, all my previous teachings, and you should be able to understand the process of what the Buddha had to do. The relationship is different, as I always teach, as Grandmaster Ching Kong also teaches, a great Chinese master. Just make sure you watch my previous videos so you are not somehow thrown in the air. You are able to really follow the difference between Buddhism, for instance, and Christianity or Islam or Hinduism. You should be able to grasp the difference. And then the words of the Buddha, you should be able to know the meaning of the words. The words of the Buddha are like medicine. The Buddha is like a doctor. When he gives us these words, when we concentrate on them, we meditate on them, we reflect on them again and again, they sort of wash through your mind. It's like a fountain. It cleanses your mind. It purifies your mind. It brings your mind peace and serenity and tranquility. And this was the objective of the Buddha. Those who have not been able to really grasp or understand these teachings, feel free to contact me. My email address is c.aburime@hotmail.com. Aburime. That's my last name, c.aburime@hotmail.com. Or Color College. Color spelled British. COLOUR, Color College @hotmail.com. Thanks, folks. Enjoy your Tuesday. Namo Amitofo.